Oklahoma Sooners are going to factor heavily into the 2019 Big 12 championship race and into the college football playoff picture. And everybody's going to talk about Jalen Hurts and will he or won't he start? Will Spencer Rattler have an impact on that job? But the real key, the real reason why the Sooners are going to be in that running is because of guys like Grant Calcaterra and Creed Humphrey. Let's start with Creed. Man in the middle right here. Gone. They lose 4 starting offensive linemen to the NFL, and that's tough to replace when it comes to protecting your quarterback and creating space in the run game. 2 things that have to happen for head coach Lincoln Riley. But of course, he does return Grant Calcaterra. Calcaterra, the greatest mismatch in college football, a tight end that runs like a wide receiver, and he's got the ability, you see him right here, they're getting physical, they're hand fighting. He's got the ability to fight through the safety. Wide receivers don't do this. They don't fight through safeties to get to the football and secure the catch that ultimately secures Oklahoma the Big 12 championship and a spot in the college football playoff. But Grant Calcaterra can do those things. Between Calcaterra and Creed Humphrey, the Sooners have the building blocks for a national championship caliber team. They just got to get it done on offense.
All day to throw for Murray down the middle. What a grab! Touchdown Sooners! Calcaterra going up.
To get deeper into Grant Calcaterra and Creed Humphrey, we're going to bring in Max Browne, our college football expert. Max, how you doing?
Doing great, Michael. Here we got a little O-line love today.
Yeah, we're going to kick it off with that O-line love. Creed Humphrey, one of my favorite players to follow in recruiting, one of the guys that I was like, this guy can have almost an immediate impact, and he has for the Sooners. And he's got a tall task this year, but the reason I think he's up to it in terms of working with replacing 4 starters on that offensive line is because of things like this. I watched this play, and we're going to see a blitz from the linebackers come in. You see the safety come down into the box, and the way that Creed's able to pass off the nose to get to the linebacker to make sure that this run play even gets off the ground, for me, is marvelous, and then the finish is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, you talk about replacing 4 starters. One of the biggest things with that is going to be communication, right? And when you pass off defenders, that's communication in its whole, right? You're having to talk to the guards next to you, understanding your calls, understanding your reads. And this is why, if you're an Oklahoma Sooner fan, you have to be excited about moving forward, even though you are replacing 4 starters, is you have the anchor piece in the middle coming back. And to have a successful run game, you have to have that anchor, and Creed's definitely that for the Sooners.
Yeah, I absolutely, just watching him play, you see him there in the middle, number 56. He works with his guard right next to him on the right. Original plan, let's combo this guy and then climb to the linebackers. Instead of doing that, I need to take this linebacker right now, because if he does shoot that gap, I do think that this play is dead in the water as far as run plays go, because he does have, you look at this linebacker, that ability to shoot that gap, to go make a play. I think that's a big play by Creed that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but definitely shows up when you watch the tape.
What I love is, look at his finish right here. He's punishing the guy in the ground, and the end result of that is when we played again, that linebacker that blitzes, and he's coming to that puller. He wants no part of this run game. He's driving straight to his shins, and that's a product of play after play, time after time, having OU's offensive line punishing them. And you see it right here with Creed in terms of passes it off, drive, finish the play, and then that takes a wear on a defense, especially as you move into the game. And Oklahoma's bread and butter are these offensive power plays. You're seeing this time in and time out. No use punishing you. It's a successful recipe for the Sooners.
Yeah, I think they have been punishing, and I think with Jalen Hurts, the question of do they have to be more physical up front because the run game may take a little bit more center stage because of his limited abilities as a passer. So I think that's an interesting one, and we're going to show the tight shot to end this before we get to the next play, because punishing was the name of the game. And this is him recognizing, okay, I see it. The ability to keep his head up and see through the nose to the linebacker coming on when they gave no indication of blitz pre-snap is a testament to what he can do. But it's not all punishment. You mentioned communication. It's him also helping his teammates out. And I think this is the biggest asset that he brings to the table in terms of 4 new guys stepping in, because he's always going to be there to help. Creed is going to be their best friend.
And we need to pinpoint how hard this truly is. I mean, when the ball is snapped, he's going to take his eyes to the left, then back to the right to help his buddies out, and then coming back to the left once again. That's hard in real time as a center to be able to drop to the boundary, take your eyes there to the left, say, oh, nope, I'm good to go. My buddies to the right might need help. And then take the switch again and say, oh, we have defensive line games back to our left that they need my assistance. That's where the experience comes in. that's where it's not as much of a concern for me when you're replacing 4 offensive linemen, because you have the pillar piece in there. This is very impressive. This is one of those things as an offensive line coach.
Yeah.
You don't even get this far in your coaching because you don't want to confuse your guys. You don't want to put too much on his plate. But with Creed Humphrey, I mean, you're able to do that. And this is awfully impressive and shows that, one, he knows fronts, he knows schemes, he knows all of that. And then 2, he can apply it in real time. So awfully impressive on my end.
Yeah, it really is. I think you said it all right there. The big thing for me, I mean, he looks, and it's a TE game essentially that we're seeing them play. Tackle goes outside, defensive end comes inside, and that guard 72 has no opportunity to get back to the inside because he's working hard to push that tackle wide. He can't get back to the inside as the end comes in. And I think that speaks volumes about what Creed's able to do. He goes to help the right guard, comes back to help the left guard, ultimately stops what could have ended up being a sack. And then we see CeeDee Lamb right there, of course, kind of just skip into the end zone essentially. And a lot of that comes from the next guy we're going to talk about. You mentioned him, Grant Calcaterra.
Yeah, Grant Calcaterra, obviously a great option. We run to the next play. I mean, we'll see his ability, or I guess, excuse me, on this play, yeah, obviously running the safeties off. And here you see him running linebackers, the front side safety and the backside safety off, and it opens holes like this. And when you look at Oklahoma, you see a guy like CeeDee Lamb gets a lot of credit. Hurts is going to get a lot of credit this year. But Grant Calcaterra, I mean, in the air, you have to account for him. It's not just a secondary option that a defense can just pass along. And right here, it's like you said, it's not going to come up on the stat sheet, but a big reason why those 2 pieces that we just covered, a big reason why CeeDee Lamb's able to just trot in the end zone.
Yeah, and for Grant Calcaterra, we'll start with where I want to see him improve, and that's the blocking. He's there, lined up in the slot, and he's got he's got a safety on him. He's got to be aggressive to get to the safety, to get to the block, but instead he cost his team what could be a very positive play the way things are set up. And instead, because he doesn't get aggressive in his blocking, that's where we see a deficiency in Calcaterra's game.
Yeah, this is the cardinal sin, right? This is the bubble drill, blocking drill day 1. You have to get to the point of attack, and I can tell what he's doing, right? With his left foot, he's trying to get to where the linebacker's going to be. He's trying to step outside to his left, get ahead, create an alleyway, but the reality is he opens up the gate, and if you're an outside linebacker, Michael, I mean, this is a dream scenario. This is how you're about to knock a player's helmet off, but this is obviously where he needs to improve. And they're leaving yards out here on the field for sure.
Yeah, the big thing for me, I think about it from a safety standpoint. You only make that move. You only shoot that gap if you're sure you can get there, because this is a way that you cost your team points, you cost your team numbers, is because you shoot that gap and you're able to get pinned inside when you're supposed to have outside leverage. 45, Anthony Wheeler, is the guy that's supposed to make that run fit, and then the safety should fit outside of him. But because Calcaterra comes off the line slow, because he's not attacking and not aggressive, he makes the executive decision to shoot that gap, and it pays off for them with no gain. And that's where you got to see Calcaterra go and pick up those yards. If he gets aggressive on him, not only do I see him blocking that safety, but he also takes control of that outside linebacker 45 that's flowing wide, which gives them an extra blocker in number 45 for Oklahoma to the outside. And we've got a big gain there because now you've got 2-on-1 with just a corner and then a late safety trying to come over.
Yeah, and from the offensive side of that, if I see this linebacker shoot, if I'm an offensive coordinator, I'm saying I'm pissed at Calcaterra for this play. But in the back of my head, I'm saying, what can I dial up next to maybe take advantage of a linebacker or safety really jumping that alleyway? Can I pump fake him? What's the play off of this bubble screen that I can go to next? Obviously, you hate this negative gain, but as we'll see in the next play, Oklahoma dials up there. Okay, you shot the gap last time. All right, here we go next time, rolling for trying to dial up Calcaterra.
Yeah, and let's get to the next play because you're spot on. The way that colleges are building plays off plays has been really, really special. A very similar look right here. And instead of Grant Calcaterra having to block a guy, now he's catching a touchdown pass. I love the energy and the passion out of him. But let's go through this play because this is something that I really appreciate about Calcaterra is his ability not just to run the route, but to run the route through damage.
run the route through damage. I'm very impressed with his patience here, right? They're going to do the bubble look, right? 3 receivers to the top of the screen, going to try to fake the bubble to the interior-most slot. And then the outside 2 receivers, Calcaterra being obviously in the middle, they're block, outside leverage, the same look that he just got beat on.
Yep.
And he's patient, hoping that the Texas safety jumps the alleyway and then cross the face for a touchdown. But like you said, the ability to fight through damage, fight through arms, all that stuff is crucial for sure, especially when Texas is bringing heat in the middle, right? Yep. When they blitz, the middle's wide open, and Calcaterra knows that. Kyler Murray in this picture will know that. This year, Jalen Hurts will know that because he has that level of experience. So fighting through, not giving up on a play, and knowing that when your offensive coordinator calls this play, he's dialing you up. He knows he has the trust in you. This is red zone. This is 6 points, money-making territory. So it shows the confidence that the offense has in Calcaterra, but credit him for getting it done and fighting through a lot of hands in contact.
Yeah, the big thing for me watching this is why he's a tight end still. And the blocking is not why we still label him as a tight end, but this is why we label him as a tight end, because he is willing to do that. I don't think there are nearly as many wide receivers. They're going to run through this grab, run through that, power through a safety to get into the end zone, to be open, to be a target, and then secure the catch. I understand that wide receivers always love to get the pass interference calls, but for me, seeing Calcaterra want to go catch the football, and this is an impressive catch as well. That's the thing we didn't talk about. He's got great hands. And the ability to separate, get the ball out in front, away from his body, and reel that in while being dragged, while a guy is draped on him, to me speaks to it. Again, you see the pressure come from the interior there. You see the screen look. You see this, and then, boom, I'm still going to make that catch. And that's why I'm glad he is still labeled as a tight end.
Love his versatility, but obviously if you're going to be listed as a tight end, you got to be better in the blocking scheme. We just saw it in that play. He's got to be more physical, but when he's listed as a tight end, to be able to bring him inside, outside, allow him to have mismatches on linebackers, safeties, and then if he's way outside, have mismatches on corners, I think that's a huge advantage for OU. But as a tight end, got to be better in the blocking scheme. Love his physicality in the pass catching, the route running, and he's obviously a big player that is slept on with this Oklahoma offense.
With Creed, with Grant Calcaterra, then you throw in some of the weapons they have like CeeDee Lamb. Do you see this offense being as explosive through the air with Jalen Hurts?
I do. I think, or through the air, no. Explosive as a whole, I think there's still potential. You talk about Hurts and what he brings to the run game, but through the air, I think they're going to take a step back. Obviously, we talked about the offensive line. Even with Creed Humphrey, that's still a question mark. I feel confident with it, but to your question, through the air, no, I see him taking a step back. But as a whole, I think there's things schematically you can do with Hurts that is very intriguing in college football. That, I mean, Oklahoma year in and year out, they're finding ways to make plays, put up points. So that's my take. What do you got? You see him being as explosive in 2019?
I think it's going to be tough. I think it'll be interesting to see Jalen Hurts trying to grow into this role because they're going to try to ask him to do things that weren't his strong suit at Alabama. So I think the run game is going to be key, which brings in Creed Humphreys in that offensive line. But folks, Max and I think we both agree this is going to be Lincoln Riley's toughest season as a head football coach. No Baker, no Kyler, now Jalen. We'll see what he's able to do. That's another episode of Tape Don't Lie.